Right, good. Thank you, Darren, for the setup. That's what I'm talking about, the art of spirographs. So I would like to start by what is a spirograph? Maybe some of you have played with those things when you were a child, or maybe this looks more familiar to you. Basically, a spirograph works by using a set of interlocking gears, which you can see here, to draw a repeating pattern, just like this. You move the pen around the gear, and because the ratios of the two gears are set to a very specific value, you get different shapes. Also, to use some fancy words, don't ask me after the presentation, I won't remember them. They're called hypotokites and epitokites, depending on if they're outside or inside. You can create like these structures with them, and how I found them was through a YouTube video. There was a guy that just did a video about those things, and he explained that you can do this in two-dimensional space with two gears. But what happens if you want to add a third gear? You cannot really do that on paper. So what he did is he made a simulation of this. And unfortunately for him, his simulation was coded in a language that wasn't very performant, so it was really slow. So I wanted to make a simulation for myself. So I started to look into spirographs. How do they work? And it's really easy because you just have two circles and they're just rotating within each other. It's actually like not hard at all. And what you need to do is just track a specific point in space, and then you end up with these beautiful shapes. Something else that you can do is, instead of tracking a specific point in space, you can track along the entire line of the distance that you would usually track. So there's a distance and there's a point that you track, and if you track the entire line, you get different results, and those look like those. So they're way more luminous, so to say. And I hope I can show you a little demo of how that looks like. If you can pull that up for me. And I will try my best to play with it on the monitor. But no promises that it will be good. Alright, let's see, where's my mouse? Oh my god. I found them out. Okay, alright, so we have a simulation speed. If we decrease this, we can see we have this little dot that is tracked. And right now we just have one circle, and one circle is, well, pretty boring because you cannot have like repeating weird shapes. So what we can do is increase the number of circles to 2, if I can manage to. There we go. And now we have 2 circles orbiting each other and one point that is tracked along those coordinates. And to show how that looks like, you can increase the simulation speed. And then you end up with something like this, where you can estimate the shape, how it will look like in the end, but you're not quite sure because it keeps like breaking up at the end. So I added this, where I just increased the simulation speed by a whole lot. And it's no longer animating, so if I go back, you can see it's actually just tracing the simulation steps all the way to iteration 10,000 and leaves the simulation at that, so it's not stepping through. And if we then start to change the radius of these spheres, we can slowly see a change, and we can slowly see these beautiful patterns emerge. And something else that I did just for aesthetics reasons was to create a gradient picker, because just looking at plain white is a little bit boring. So let me just try. Aiming is hard. All of this is created in Unity, by the way, if anybody's wondering. And there it is. And also the circles are a little bit annoying, so let's just get rid of those. And now we can just play with 2 circles. So this is basically every shape that you can make with the toys. So there's these specific radii that you can choose based on the 2 distances of the spheres, and you get these different results. But what I wanted to have was 3 circles. How would that look like? And then we can see, oh, there is more shapes here. And if we now go, I have a little something here. Darren, could you be so kind and type -1 point 0266? A point after the -1.
I did.
A comma? Yeah, try that one. Can you enter? Hey, that works. Cool. And then the next value is 1.1, 1.2, and then we should see something. Now that's something that doesn't look very appealing, and it's now where I want to introduce my color blending, which doesn't look very good because I didn't turn down the alpha. So now the colors are basically washing over each other. And if we reduce here and reduce here, I would usually type in like 1 or 5, but I don't have a keyboard, so I'm sorry for doing this. And now if we go down here, there it is, and then you can start to see these little beautiful patterns emerge, and I'm just fascinated by this stuff because it's such simple math in reality, and it's so simple to program, but you can get such beautiful patterns to emerge. Anyway, that's basically what I did. That's what I wanted to show off. You can actually play this for yourself. On my website there is a Unity link. It's gonna be in the presentation. I'm gonna upload the presentation to our Discord, and if you want you can play around with this and maybe generate some cool shapes like I showed off in the video or in the presentation. Yeah, and that's basically it. Thank you. Oh yeah, are there any questions? Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
How many hours did you play around with this once you had it? Like, I could
Too
see
many.
myself just disappear for hours.
Too many, yeah. Too many. I was sitting there just scrolling through, and like I only managed like 3 or 4 circles at maximum. It's basically what I've noticed from a mathematical standpoint, to just really shortly dive into it. With 2 circles you can represent 2-dimensional space. With 3 circles you represent 3-dimensional space. And you start to go into the complex space if you track along the entire axis of the line, which is just mind-blowing for me. Because you can basically visualize complex space with this. Anyway, sorry, that's all the math nerd I have for today.
I have a question. Can you just replace the circle with a sphere?
You probably could, yeah.
What would the point become? A circle?
Well, it would be interesting to try. Surely.
Oh, no.
You can do. Oh no. Another rabbit hole.
I have a question as well. What was that inefficient language? Just curious. Was it Python or?
I'm not actually. I think it was JavaScript or something.
Okay. Yeah, that's all.
I read
investment case.
Yeah. It just wasn't very good. Right? Anybody else? Otherwise, I would think the next presenter should come up here. Thank you, thank you, thank you.